All right, and let's get started with our Texas Rangers segment. First thing that we want to talk about is the 2025 MLB draft, where the Texas Rangers drafted third baseman Gavin Feen, number 12 overall, a Texas Longhorn commit for college baseball, says that he's going to forego that and go straight to the Rangers, which I think is a great positive sign for the system. Joe, do you think that this trade was, or not trade, draft pick? I mean, what are your thoughts originally on this? Do you think that it's good?
I thought it was a warning to Josh Young. You could say a warning already was made just by dropping him down to, the minors, but I thought that this means for sure they're trying to move in a different direction, get a young talent at the hot corner in a guy like Gavin Feen, a young 18-year-old who posted a career 378 in four varsity seasons, 12 homers, 29 doubles, and 65 ribbies in 91 career high school games, which is pretty salty. So it's kind of interesting also for the Texas Longhorns who have really been pounding it in California recently in their recruits. So I didn't really know too much about him coming into the MLB draft, but it didn't surprise me that he was a Texas Longhorn commit and that he also decided to forego, going to college to, trying his hand in the minor leagues. I don't blame him. If you have the opportunity and you're good enough, you have the talent, why not? He has a good frame. He's 6'3", about 200, which is pretty crazy for an 18-year-old prospect at the hot corner. So
Yep.
he's already got the size. He can add more muscle for sure as time goes, but he's 18. He has plenty of time. Personally, I think this is a great pick for the Rangers.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you hit the nail right in the head right here because this is, I mean, you think that it's a warning shot to Josh Young, and I think it absolutely is. And I also think that his frame, great, 6'3", 200. He's already beating a lot of the other prospects that were picked in the first round. Um, I know that baseball, it's a little bit less, you don't really draft what you need currently, but I still think that's something that the Rangers should have looked at in the future case, which I don't know if they address this later in the draft, which I don't know if how much that's going to make too much of a difference. But I was kind of seeing that hopefully they would try to pick up a catcher. I think maybe that the catcher is something that is going to be a big need for the Rangers sooner or later. The prospects recently haven't been working out for them. Jonah Heim is having another, since his 2023 All-Star starting season, just hasn't been the exact same that he has from his 2023 form. So I was trying to see if the Rangers would go ahead and pick somebody up at the catcher position, but
In all fairness, I mean, they had Malcolm Moore, I believe, last year. So they
you're
could just
right.
be banking on him. He was a first round pick from
2024.
last year,
Yeah.
also from California. Again, they love these California guys. And there were some reports going on that they've really been trying to draft more college guys. If you've seen these last few drafts, especially in the last 3, 4-ish years, but this is really peculiar for the Rangers who have now gone to a high schooler in the first round, which we haven't been accustomed to seeing for Chris Young. So this is kind of a different strategy for the Rangers, but I trust that Chris Young knows what he's doing, going after a young prospect who they can believe they can mold in their system to be the next great hot corner for the Rangers. And by the
Yeah.
way, he goes to a really great high school, went to a great high school that has had 11 players drafted. I need to look up who else went to Great Oak High School in Temecula, California. Let me see this really quick.
Got to do that research real quick. I mean, you
Yeah.
talk about it, yeah, he does seem to really want to pick up the college prospects more than the high school prospects, Chris Young, that is. And you wonder what kind of window he's trying to fit Gavin Feen into this team right now, because you would imagine that there's still some kind of championship window that you want to have with your star core, like Corey Seager and Marcus Simeon. But in a few years, they're going to start to get a little older, not be able to hold up as much. We've already been starting to see that a little bit with them. And you're talking about the college players that he's drafted with like Wyatt Langford. I mean, immediate call up to the MLB basically. The same season basically got called up. And so, I mean, obviously not the same season, but he started opening day the next year. So, I mean, he's gonna be. I don't know if this is a huge warning to Josh Young because who knows if he's going to be ready in 2 to 3 years, and that's a long time. That's a long time. People have already talked about trading Josh Young, which I think is crazy because I think his career just started with us. I didn't think that that was even something that people were going to try to start to consider, but I mean, I think it's an interesting pick. I think that the Rangers still heading in the right direction. Maybe a different window, maybe a different competitive window than the current core that we have right now, though. So, anyways,
Yeah, I
you're
mean, yeah, like based what you're saying, I mean, it could be a warning, it couldn't be a warning. It takes time, like you were pretty much emphasizing. Like we already know that he got dropped down. He'll be back up, I think. Maybe in the second week as they return from the All-Star break, I think. I haven't really looked at his minor league stats since getting brought down, but I think that he'll be back in due time. In the meantime, Duran hasn't been too bad at third base. Josh Smith has been really good at first base. Josh Smith also has been good at third base as well. Always a dependable glove. And so they haven't really lost much. And that series for Josh Young was just catastrophic, where, he couldn't really knock anybody in with much of scoring position. Nobody really could, honestly. But he just had the very bad breaks, striking out a little bit high and in, and just wasn't his weekend for that series against the Mariners. So we'll see where he comes back as we return from the All-Star break. I'm wishing the best for him. I remember the day he was drafted like yesterday, like you were saying. He seems like he's a young guy, but he's getting up there towards 30. So time may be running out for his tenure here in Texas. Hopefully he can turn it around by the time the season ends because this team is only a game under 500.
yeah, and his hair definitely tells that he's going to be almost 30. Looks like he's pushing 40 almost, man.
Sheesh.
But we're going to the second half of this Texas Rangers season. They're currently 48 and 49. I think they're 8.5 games behind the Houston Astros, and I think they're 2.5 or 3.5 games behind the last wild card spot. Now, we were talking about a pretty easy schedule heading into the All-Star break. Coming out of this All-Star break, gets a little tough. I mean, this opening homestand with Detroit, the Athletics, Sacramento, I guess, I don't know, and Atlanta, not too difficult. Obviously, Detroit being the head of the AL is going to be a very daunting task to do, but then you get afterwards and you have some important divisional matchups on the road, which the Rangers have struggled with the Angels and the Mariners, and then you got New York, and then you got Philadelphia and it just keeps on getting worse. You got a lot of plus 500 teams coming up on the schedule, especially in that August month. Is this a time for the Rangers? I mean, we're nearing this trade deadline. They're sitting right at the perfect mediocre mark. I mean, it's a tough decision to think about. So I'll let you answer it first. Do you think that they should like buy, sell? Do you think they should stay put? I mean, it's nearing up pretty quickly. Trade deadline, I believe, is August or July 31st.
If they have a chance to be, right there in wild card contention, again, I don't know if they're going to win the division. We said a few weeks ago that it's probably Houston, if not Seattle's division to win. But, I've seen crazier division comebacks. They did it in 2015, if you remember that, the season before they were first in the American League. They came back to win the division, but I don't think that's going to happen. I just look at the wild card standings, and looking at that, they have a really good chance to make a good surge right there in the wild card. So why not buy and maybe get more help in the back end of your bullpen, which has been very shaky at times. The middle hasn't been as bad, honestly. We've seen Sean Armstrong have shakiness every now and then, but he's really played much better in the past 2 weeks. Hobie Milner has had his, bad spells every now and then, but he's really had a decent season, to be honest, if you look at the numbers. But I'm really worried about Robert Garcia and Luke Jackson. I like Robert Garcia when he has support, when he has a 2-run, 3-run cushion. Luke Jackson and Garcia really struggle when there's a 1-run game or if it's a tie ball game. You saw it in San Diego again, and you see it in dang near every extra inning contest with this team. So it's very disappointing in that aspect. I think they got to buy for some back end bullpen help for sure. Offensively, is there really anybody they can trade for this lineup? I mean, they have pieces. They just haven't shown up. So I don't know what you go for if you're trying to improve your actual lineup. Jake Berger obviously has not been what we thought he was going to be advertised to be. I don't know who's on the block for first baseman that they can acquire that wouldn't really cost, something special. But I think if they're going to buy, which I do believe, it's going to be bullpen help.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna get help, I think it is bullpen help for sure. But I mean, I could see them doing what they did last year, kind of playing it small, getting pieces that you think could really contribute if you do become competitive. And I think that the Rangers are obviously competitive right now. We're just going into our second half. They're only 3.5 games behind that wild card spot. But you're talking about those three wild card spots in the AL. It's the Yankees, Red Sox, and Mariners. And those three teams, the Yankees are the Yankees, but then the Red Sox and the Mariners have been on fire recently. The Mariners just swept Detroit in Detroit. And I mean, but when you think about it, it is the Mariners. They are a team that with destiny has always seemed to crumble in the late half of the season. So hopefully that's something that can happen because this Rangers team is just having such a difficult time getting on runs. And they don't, I mean, they can go and win 3 games straight, but it doesn't matter because they'll go and lose the next two. And it's like they're not making huge progress. And I don't think with the schedule, with the increased competition and the schedule, coming up, I I don't know. They're going to have to depend on maybe Seattle having some kind of breakdown. Because I don't see Boston having it. I don't see New York having it. Um, we're gonna. I don't know if this team is capable of going on a run. It's gonna have to come down to once again the offense stepping up, and they've gotten a little bit of a flow going recently. They've been able to get some good contact. Everything's people are starting to warm up a little bit. Marcus Simeon's been heating up. Garcia's been heating up. Seager's been hitting some balls out of the park or out of the home runs now. So, I mean, you're getting some pickup. I think they stay put. I think they do what they did last year, which is like get the solid spots, like I said at the first part of this. Andrew Chafin was one of them. Carson Kelly was another one of the catchers. I think it's something like that. Maybe small little pickups. I don't think that you get rid of anybody. I don't think you try to go and trade Josh Young or try to look at options for somebody like Nathan Evaldi. Um, I think you try to win with a squad because I mean you got a solid squad on paper.
Yeah, they have a solid squad, and I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Does it make sense as he's been sitting on the couch this entire offseason, this first half? Does it make sense, speaking about a bullpen, to go after David Robertson again, who is 40 years old? He's been rumored for some teams, but he was not bad last
It
year.
is crazy that he hasn't been picked up. I would
It
imagine
is
that he would
it
be
is
picked up by now
terrible.
because he did not do that bad for us last year. For a
Oh
team
my
that
God.
really has always struggled with bullpen and had some struggles last year, he held it down. I'll never forget his 1-2-3 inning with Otani, Freeman, and Betts
Oh
striking out all
man.
three of them.
Wow.
That was some wild stuff. I mean, I would not be opposed to getting Robertson again. Cheap price, somebody who could finish out the season, probably not coming back the next year. Perfect, man. That's something that we need. I'm not a big fan of some of the righties that we have in this bullpen rotation, like Chris Boschley, one of them, the
It's
name of
like
it.
it's like Beasley or something. It's a weird pronunciation. I can't ever get
Very
it.
weird. Very weird. But
Yeah.
we'll see the Rangers back in action tomorrow against Detroit.